Today we are going to discuss about Adani ports and special economic zones. Uh, as we know that slowly the lockdowns is going to open and the essential items are going to open. So this is one of the essential things which we require, the ports, which can get essential items for you in India. So let's start the presentation. Uh, Sir, please next slide. Yeah. Okay, Adani ports and special economic zone. First, we will see how is the stock. In the basic fundamental, we see whether the stock is a growth stock or the stock is a value stock. I mean to say, the growth stock is that a stock the which is having a sentiment of less than which is given by the government bonds. That is, we take an example in roughly figures. If we take sentiments today, it comes to 15.15. The price per earning ratio, that is the sentiment of a stock, is 15.5. It is giving same returns as it is coming on the same returns as of the government bonds. So if we have a stock which is at the less than that P, that means it is a good stock which we are getting in this price. Now next come to the value stock. Value stocks are those stocks which gives you return on equity very high, which are more than 15% annually. So this stock is a very rare stock which is available in very low price and gives a very high growth, that is high value return on equity. So if I want to recommend you right now, this stock comes in growth and value. So that means today if you buy this stock, you will get in a very good price, and in the future years you will get a very good return also. So let's see the recommendations which we have made through so many analysis, that we should buy this stock around 308 rupees. 308, that should be your first buy. As today you can see this the Adani ports has closed near to this only. So this is some of the barrier which we are facing here. So once we buy at this price, this will be a very good price, because in future it will go up. Let's go for the target price where we can sell it for the first 15%. If we take 100 stocks today, 50 stocks we can sell at rupees 365, and the others 50 we can sell at rupees 1415. And yes, we have done so much analysis on this, so we think as that this is a confirmed price and we should buy this stock, and it's a confirmed buy. So can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, first we will do the value analysis for this stock. As this stock is it comes in value also. As I've told you, this price to earning ratio, it should be less than 15, or you can say it should be bank P plus minus 2. That is, we take 15 as bank P plus minus 2 as a roughly figure, that comes to 13 and 17. So it is actually less than that. So it is a very good thing to buy this stock right now, because the price to earning ratio is 13 and the annual growth for price to earning is 0.72. And we highly recommend that if a stock is less than 1.5 price to earning growth, it is a good stock to buy. Now, if we see the intrinsic value, the price to intrinsic value, first I'll tell you what is the intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is the thing which we take into consideration so many things, that how much is the company's cash flow, how much is the present value, and how much is the number of stocks. So we derive a intrinsic value, that how much it should be the value of that stock today. And if we divide that by the price, it comes that how much times we have to pay. As you can see in the last price to intrinsic value, it is 3.87 by our intrinsic value. Like if I want to buy a thing at 3 rupees, so this price right now I'm getting is around 9 or 10 rupees. But as this stock is very good, we are ready to pay this, because this stock is a high growth stock. So can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. This is a growth investing stock. As I told you, this is a value stock, this is a growth stock too. So let's come to the growth points of view. The debt to equity. Price to earning, I've already told you, it is around 30. That comes to debt to equity. Debt to equity tells you how much company has debt on it, in simple words. And for a good capital, for a good stock, it has to be more, it has to be, it has to be less than 0.5. It has to be less than 0.5, but here we can see it is 1.05. So people can ask, yeah, it is 1.05, why should I buy it? But we have an exception here, that a stock which is having very high capital inclusive business, like they need a very good amount of money to build something of their basic. Like this is a port, as you know that for building a port it requires a lot of amount. So for that we have an exception, that if a debt to equity for a very high inclusive business is around 1, it is a good stock. It is a good stock to buy. Next it becomes to interest coverage ratio. What is interest coverage ratio? That how much times we have money in free cash flow that we can pay our interest, which is by our debts. So this is our interest coverage ratio tells us. For a good stock, I mean for a value stock, if you say the interest coverage ratio should be less than 5. No, sorry, should be more than 5. But for a debt inclusive business, I mean to say debt inclusive business, that if a too much capital is included in this, and if you get payments later on, like if you give a product to someone, if you give a service to someone, but the payment is not fully fulfilled, after some time you get the full payment, so that is debt inclusive business. For that we can take a exception, that it can be 3 more than 3.5, and you can see it is 3.96. So it is a green signal for us. We can go and buy this stock on interest coverage ratio basic. Now let's come to gross profit margin. Gross profit margin is huge. It's 71% and it is growing every year. From last 5 years, it is growing. It is a very huge gross profit margin. Now let's come to the operating profit margin. Operating profit margin, after getting out all the expenses which you have from gross profit margin, you get operating profit margin, which is 56%. It is very steady from last 5 years, which is a very good thing for this kind of stock. Now let's come to the main point. Why it is high growth? The return on equity is 17.5% annually. That means it is more than 15.5. I know it is not so much, but if you see, this stock is in value stock and in growth stock. So if you're getting a stock which is having a 17.5% annual, the return on equity with a very good price, so it is a very good buy. And if you see sales growth and net income, it is rising steadily from last 3 years. So there is no negative in that. So can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, this is the quantitative analysis for banking and finance, as this doesn't include any banking and finance. But if we do in future in any banking and finance, we will do this kind of things. Let's go to the qualitative analysis. And as we know, Suneel, my friend and my colleague, he is having Adani as a client. So he will put you more lights on this qualitative analysis. Suneel, over to you.
Thank you, Deepanshu, and good evening to all members.
Good evening, Suneel. I'm sorry to interrupt. Just before you start this, because you have done the qualitative part, can you explain qualitatively of why the GPM and the OPM is this high for this stock? Just start from there, and then you can continue with that slide.
So you want to ask why the gross profit margin is high?
No, because you already know the qualitative factors. So just include these factors also. That's what I'm saying.
So you want to correlate the numbers with the qualitative factors, right?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So we've been told, from last month we are taking the training. So all the fundamental analysis being told by Emmanuel was really good. We understood the numbers which you have seen in earlier slides. Anyone who will be knowing it will be very interesting numbers. So we can correlate with that with the qualitative analysis also. So if I start with a moat is basically anything which we correlate with our taste, जो हमें जोड़ के रखता है किसी भी चीज से. So like if I like Maggie, so why I like Maggie? Because of the taste of it. So I will never go to the other brand till the time Maggie is there. So that is what moat is. And for this stock, the moat is that you cannot create a new port, the port such as Mundra port, right? And it's been built a long back, and most of the cargo has been shifted also from Nhava Sheva to Mundra, especially for northern region. and especially any cargo which is coming to Gujarat. So obviously this stock is having a moat, and it is a catchy stock. Then you go to the business model. So they have five different facilities which they provide to the customers, which is the SEZ, special economic zones. The second one is the port, obviously where the vessel is coming. Their berthing facilities is having, they have six berthing stands for the vessels, which even Nhava Sheva doesn't have. Then they have a logistics park where they load and offload the container, where the train comes, they load the containers on the train, and then that train moves to the port. And they then, obviously the logistics park has to be in the ICD. ICD stands for the inland container depots. It's basically it's not the seaport, it is the dry port from where a dry port being connected to the wet port. So then again, you go to the warehousing part. They do domestic warehousing as well as SEZ warehousing also. It includes bonded warehousing and normal warehousing. So that is what their business model is. And coming back to the management part, their management is really good, and they take care of their customers really well. In fact, they have good services. They've improved their services from last uh, 4-5 years like anything. They have 5 trains for Mundra, 3 trains for other ports, Pipavav, Nhava Sheva, when I talk about ICDs, and they are very fair. In fact, I mean, uh, when you talk about the credit terms, they have given good credit terms also to us. But now they are pulling their credits from the customers, since the situation is like that. So the management is really good. They understand how they're operating the business, and that's why they're taking the credit they're taking credit off from the customers right now, and they're doing in cash. So they are really secure about their money. So coming to the competitive advantage is, I mean, it's very difficult to get a permission from a government to get a new port. It's very difficult to get, because there's a lot of infrastructure goes into getting a new port. So I don't think so it's so easy to get a new entrant, a new company coming in and opening a port. The bargaining power with the suppliers obviously is low, and the reason is because they're controlling so much of a bigger volumes, right? Threat of substitute products. So I mean, if I have to send a container to let's say Europe or in Africa, I will definitely say I will not send my containers from North India to Nhava Sheva, because it is very far, and I will not send it to Pipavav also. I will send it to Mundra because it is 900 kilometers away. And if you see all Japanese belt, it is situated in all Gurgaon, your Bawal, Bhiwadi, and all these places are very close to the Mundra port. So that's where the substitute. I mean, I don't see any substitute when you talk about Europe or you talk about African markets, because the vessel is also coming there, and they're not coming to the other ports such as Pipavav, which can be a threat, but it is not. So the rivalry among competitors, again, it's very low. I don't see there is a competition, because the other port, which is Pipavav port, which is close to that, is serving for only Americans location or for the Far East location. So when you talk about Europe and Africa, which is a big market for India, that is the port which we work for. So can we move ahead with the other slide?
Sure. Sunil, I think you just missed bargaining power of buyers. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So bargaining power of, I mean, it self defines. It's one of the ports. So it it it's see the rail freight has been decided, and the cost of the port has been most of the time decided by the government, and the vessel operators which come and berth there, they give the price to the Adani ports. So I don't think so. There can be a challenge in this case.
Thank you.
Can we move ahead? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how a shareholding pattern looks like. Uh, so the promoter is having 62.3%, which is the same since the time the company got registered, and the pledge shares is just a moment. It's 32.1%. So obviously, you're gonna ask why it is red, because it is 32.1% of the promoters. What is pledge share is that I have to take a debt on my share. I have to pledge my shares to the bank to get the money, to get the debt. So that is what the pledge shares is. So I have given my 32%, promoters has given their 32% share to the bank to get the money, but it is it is decreasing. If you see the trend, if you see it from last 4 years, 5 years, it started from 43, 44%, and it is coming less and becoming less. So that means, promoters are looking after it. They are not just ignoring the pledge thing. They want to take their shares in their hands only. They want to decrease the debt. So foreign investments are of 21%. DIL is of 14%. Mutual fund is less, which has to be 5%. So I think this is also a red point, but I think that can be ignored. So that is what the qualitative analysis is. Can we move? Oh, can you do the recent corporate actions, Deepanshu?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The recent corporate actions basically, it tells how this people attract their shareholders. As you can see, the March 4th, 2020, they have given an interim dividend of 160% on face value, which actually comes to 3.2 rupees per share, which you can see on the down line, which is a very good. I mean, it's not good, but for this kind of stock, which is value and growth stock, 3.2 is not at all bad per shares. If you go, Aman sir, can we go to the next slide, please?
Sure.
Okay, as Sunil was telling, we have a
Yeah.
very big red point that pledge shares are 32.1%. But if you see the last 4 quarters, you see September 2018, it was 47.81%. Then it was 45.51. Then it was 42.31, and then it was 32.1. That means company is taking this pledge very seriously, and they are taking into consideration that we have a very big pledge, which reduces our sentiments in the market, which we can see right now that it is at 13, which is having a very high value stock. Having sentiment 13 is a very rare thing. This is why, because the pledge shares are 32.1%. And if you see the promoters holding, it is consistent. They are not, they are not selling their stocks. It is 62.3% all over. So if you divide, it is around 50% of the promoters shares. So that takes that thing to the green thing, and they are very serious about their pledge shares. So you can see that it is a very good thing that they are thinking about it. So sir, can we go to the next slide, please? Over to you, Sunil,
Okay.
please.
Thank you, Dipanshu. So this is the qualitative analysis. So previously we talked about the fundamental analysis to start with. So whenever we pick a stock, we do a fundamental analysis first of all, that हमें उस stock के लिए जाना है कि नहीं जाना. First step is that, and then obviously we come to the qualitative analysis. There is a Potter 5 model which Emmanuel sir has discussed with us. How we have to do it. I'll just explain it in qualitative analysis. So we did that before also in earlier slide, Potter 5, which we discussed कि उसका advantage क्या है, disadvantage क्या है, या how other company can step in. And so we just discussed about, now we are discussing about qualitative analysis. So the qualitative analysis says that the new ports are being aggressively bought and built. Yes. So they are investing in new ports also. So like there is a new port coming in east, there is a new port coming in west also. They already have a port in Mundra. They are investing in ICDs also, inland container depots, where they can connect to the wet port. So they are investing in that, and that's why you see the debt is high, because they are investing in the business, in their model. Now when we talk about the new services, they are coming with the reefer services also. Reefer, what we call as refrigerated containers, which they were not doing earlier. That is a major chunk of business, which being done by the Dadri port. It's a private port in Noida. So most of the meat which exports from India happens from there. But now they are coming with a lot of aggressive plans, because you need an infrastructure at the port, where you have to plug in, you have to give electricity to the container so that the temperature maintains in the container. And you want to put some light on it, Deepanshu? I think you were saying something about reefer containers also. Yeah.
Yes, sure. In olden times, we used to take these refrigerated items into ships by cargo hold. By cargo hold, I mean they build a big tanks in which they put refrigerating plants and they cool it down. Which was practically that time possible, and they were taking it that way. But if you take it as a reefer container, just loading it and unloading it doesn't take much time. But if you take a hold in which you put a meat, so loading and unloading it take very much time. So it is very not profitable if you lose time in ports. As Sunil knows that ports timings are very strict, and if you lose little time, you are losing a lot of money. Second point I want to tell you in reefer containers, if you take an example of a reefer hold, you have a lot of huge amount there of refrigerated thing which we are carrying. If one of the refrigerated plant goes bad, all your cargo hold is going to be bad, which will actually by slowly it will reflect your revenue. But if you take an example of reefer containers, reefer containers are individual containers with a reefer plant. If one of the container goes bad, if the one of the machineries in the reefer container goes bad, it is only one container which is going to get bad. It is not going to going to affect the whole cargo hold which was there before earlier. So if you see in a bigger picture, it will actually affect your profit margins. Your profit margins will increase. You can have more sales because you can give your clients more profit margins. Now let's move to the third point. Sunil, let's go ahead, please.
Okay, just to add on the reefer container point, reefer container is a highly lucrative business, and any port can generate lot of money from this, services. Since it requires a lot of electricity, so any port will overcharge to the customer since there is no competition. Once the competition has been created by the Adani port, even then it will be highly priced. So you can even expect 100% margins in these kind of businesses. The trucking of these kind of businesses, the movement of these kind of businesses from ICDs to the port, and the handling of these kind of containers give lot of margins to the port. So this is quite lucrative, which is getting started from ICDs and Adani ports. Now, when we talk about the other point, increase the space of bonded warehouse. So, what is bonded warehouse? A warehouse which is actually where you are storing the goods, where the shipment is not custom cleared, or any export shipment cannot is in the examination and not been custom cleared. Any import shipment which came in India and lying at the port and it's not been custom cleared. How the bonded warehouse has been used is any cargo which is highly valued, let's say a cargo of 5 crore rupees, and you don't want to clear the cargo instantly because you have to pay the duty, and the duty on this high value cargo is 100%, 80%, 70%. So what you do is you take that warehouse on lease, and and then let's say if you need only 100 kgs of material, so you clear that 100 kg only. You pay the duty of that 100 kg, and then that cargo moves out. So you don't have to clear the shipment together, and that's how the bonded warehouse works. So basically it helps you to save lot of money, blocking in the duty part. आप जितना बेचो उतना निकालो और उतना ही आप sell करो. That's what the bonded warehouse things are. And then we talk about domestic warehouse also, because they have a lot of space. So they have started giving domestic warehousing facilities also, since it's in the ICDs in Gurgaon, and there is a wet port is in Gujarat, and there are a lot of facilities been coming from automobile sector or from other sectors who want domestic facilities. They want warehouses. So that is again, earning chunk. There can be 3PL and 4PL can be done from these warehouses. You can store the goods there, and then you can start delivering it from there. In fact, when you do domestic warehousing, then one more thing catches is the transportation. So you can have 5 more trucks with you, and then you start delivering. So it's a very profitable model. Then you talk about SEZ. SEZ stands for the Special Economic Zone. So it will be really functional now because of the government policies. I tell you why. Recently, there is a case where the government has stopped paracetamol export. That was on 3rd of March. But when that export started, so there are 3 things which happens. Free when you can export. Then the second thing is it is restricted. Restricted means that not every exporter can send. there are policies for that. There are DGFT license, then you can export or import. And then there is prohibited. So prohibited means that uh, it's totally stopped. So even if you take a policy from DGFT or SEZ, even then you cannot export. So when this policy happened, that it is restricted, government gave the first action plan and relief to the SEZ warehouse owners. I mean, who the people who have the facilities in SEZ, who can manufacture in SEZs. So paracetamol export सबसे पहले allow किया गया SEZ से. So that's what SEZ power holds. So that means if you don't have a manufacturing unit in SEZ, till the time there is another policy comes, you can only export from SEZ. And why they do it? Because you can control the data from SEZ. Like let's say in India, 1 lakh pills are being manufactured for paracetamol, and Indian consumption is of 90,000. So you remain with 10,000 pills, right? That's what you can export. First, we'll think about our GDP, हमें क्या consume करना है, and then you can export the remaining one. Sorry guys, the light is being gone, so I'm in dark now. So that's what I was talking about. So you're gonna see a lot of policies changing related to SEZ. A lot of companies coming and taking their manufacturing units in SEZ because government is promoting. And Adani is having a very big SEZ in Mundra. So there's a next point, which is, yeah, so automotive companies, I know the future, right now, the present of the automotive companies are very bad, but in future, we cannot ignore it since Honda and Maruti has already taken the places in Becharaji, which is very close to Gujarat, and Mundra is in Gujarat only. So you can see a lot of left-hand drives car going to the Europe and to American markets and to African market, which is already happening. But that will save a lot of cost. Lot of cars being and the spare parts being exported through Nava Sheva also before. But now they have to do it from Mundra because their facilities are close to Mundra. That is one of the moats for the automotive companies also. So that's one of the things. Then port profitability will increase with time. Yeah, obviously. So right now, what the situation is that if you see on 23rd of March when Corona outbreak came and all got closed. So if you see the numbers, if you see the stocks, they got declined. In fact, they started declining from the February only. Why it happened? Because the import got stopped from China. There was blank sellings from China, और एक हफ्ते बाद ही उसका impact आता है to Indian port because it takes 30 days to deliver the cargo in India from China. So if you see the impact started coming from February. The stocks declined from February, but it start picking from March 23rd or 26th, I believe, because the essential commodity is allowed to export. And if you see, the stock was picking slowly, steadily from there. It came to 270 in the month of April 20th somewhere. And now the stock is on 308 because on 11th May, government declared that not only essential commodity, but non-essential commodities can also be exported from India. And that's where the import impact also started coming. Import was flowing in India again. Since China was closed before, but they were active in the second half of February. So if you see, in March, a lot of import came in India in April also, and that it's getting picked up. So that is what the qualitative analysis, which I was able to do in terms of Adani ports and SEZ. Can we move to the other slide?
Sure.
Did I miss something, Emmanuel, in this summary? No, I
No,
don't think so.
you are more than informative there. Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Deepanshu, you're taking this?
Yes, I'll take this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sunil. Okay, let's go to the technical part of it. As Sunil just said, with the dates, if you see the corona outbreaks have been taken, and you can see a downfall. You can see a downfall, just right here. This is the downfall due to COVID-19, and you can see it was from February. If I'll give you the weekly chart later on. If you could relate, you will see that this COVID-19 was about to happen as it was, moving. The price was moving just near here for 26. and it dropped down suddenly to, you can see it's around 260 to 250 around, if you could see.
Yes, I can see that, Dipanshu.
Okay, so next what Sunil said, according to quality analysis, when the ports was open, you could see there's a growth in the stock from 250, it goes to around 307. Right now it is at 307.
So basically,
Now,
support, right? And they're creating a new support and
right,
new resistance.
yes, I'll tell you how this technical analysis works. We have a resistance and we have a support in a basic terms in technicals. You can see by randomly, you can see by randomly, a chart is not, chart is going up and down. But if you could see, it always comes to a point and it goes up. It comes to a point and then it goes up, and it always hits a point nearby. If you see, take it in random, I'm not going much into technical, deep into technical, but if you see randomly, it is touching a point on a higher side and coming from there only. Why it is coming from there, if you will ask. People do analyze this chart through this, technical analysis only. This red candle, this red candles reflect us that no sellers are very heavy. People are, selling the stock. And if you see in a green candle, the buyers are heavy. People are buying a lot. If you see the resistance line, this stock will stay here for longer because people are confused whether to buy or sell. Because if it breaks, it goes to next resistance. Well, you can see over here. You can see over here. The support was, this was the support and this was the resistance. If we take an example, as it came from here back, you see the price of 323. When it broke it when it broke out this price of 323, it actually went to the next support, which is very clear. We can see at it is just 414. If you could see the price difference, it is around 323 to 414, and it is very technical because everybody analyze the chart through technical analysis like this only, and people buy and sell according to this. That's why charts goes up and down. Now, this is the COVID-19 breakout. When the COVID-19 breakout took place, it broke out the support which it was taking earlier. Now, this support is becoming the resistance for us, and this is the this is the support, new support which we got. As we can see, this is an uptrend. If you randomly see, it is an uptrend thing. You can see it is always taking a diagonally support of this line of this diagonal line. If you could see, it is always taking support of this, and you can see it is taking now. When it broke out, it took the support which was on the above level, so then it went back from there only. But now as it has broke down, this 323 support, it came to this support. But as from the qualitative analysis, and as we can see, we are taking this stock as investment point of view. So you could relate that now essential items are open, the ports are little after locked a little bit open, so it's slightly started to go up. And as soon as we are waiting, we told that price because of that resistance only. As soon as this this price will break out this resistance, it will actually go up to here, and we will see whether it is to whether to hold it or not. We'll see after this same analysis which we did here, we will do there. So let's go to the the weekly chart. That was a monthly thing. Let's go to the weekly chart. It is a broader picture. You could see this is the same support line which comes which comes in the monthly chart also. But as it is broke down, now it is coming as a resistance. As you can see today also, this price was moving around here only. If you could see that today's chart, if you analyze it, if you see in investing.com, you will see this price was moving here only because people are confused whether to buy or sell, because this is near to the resistance line, because this is now the resistance line. As soon as it breaks this resistance line, it will go up to here. First will be here, and when it will break up here, then it will go more up. So our first price, which we told on the second slide, was 308 buy. We are sure that it will go up from 308, so we want to buy earlier at 308. and the next next sell will be around here. You can sell here, or you could wait and let's try to move up, and you can book more profit. It's up to you how you want to sell it. I think I am very much clear, and let's go to the daily chart. As you can see, this is again taking this resistance. Today you can see today's date. It is taking this. It is a green candle, but it is resisting. This price is still resisting. At 308 and 316, it is still resisting. As soon as it breakouts from here, it will go up, and it is very sure. You can see from all three charts that in monthly, weekly, and daily chart, this is becoming a very good resistance. You can see from in this past also it was resistance, and if you go in 3 years history, as I have so seen the chart, it was the same resistance. But once it breaks out this resistance, it will come up for sure.
And I can add something on that. Can we go to the chart? Yes. So if you see the starting of 2020, the support level was around 316 rupees, right? And
Right.
the resistance was of around 392 rupees in the month of January or February, if I correlate properly. So the stocks coming down from the month of February only, and how it got hit, why it came down is because, first of all, the import was not there from China, and Mundra is catering a lot of import from European countries and from the China also. And if you see in the month of March, it was going more down because export was also stopped. So by the month, it came sharply to the price of around 200 rupees. Am I right, Deepanshu? I can see
Yes,
on that
yes, yes,
on the
yes. Correct,
screen
correct,
that
correct,
much.
correct,
And
correct,
then
correct.
again, when the things are coming, essential, non-essential products are moving, imports started coming, and export policies are also being made that essential, non-essential can, we can export. So that's where the chart is again going up. I mean, you can see the bars are going up. Again, it is, they have crossed their support level again, which was 252. They've crossed that, and they have just going to the earlier support, which is the new resistance, which is of 308. And this, they have reached to that level, I believe. So I think from here, I can only see the positive side, because from here, the volume will increase only. The business will flow only. And even though if it's the same for next 2-3 days or 2 weeks also, I don't mind in investing this stock, because I'm looking for the for longer version, not the day trading. I'm looking to earn in longer version. So that's what my take is. Thank you.
Well, if anyone has any questions, please go ahead.
So first of all, congratulations, Sunil and Dipanshu, on your first stock presentation. It was really amazing,
Thank
and
you.
Sunil really digged into the facts. Dipanshu, thank you for the quant there. Nice on numbers. So guys, we are open to any questions that any one of us might have. Uh, please, please go ahead. Feel free to unmute. You can just tell us your name and just ask Dipanshu and Sunil a question that you feel is related to Adani ports and related to today's presentation. Thank you.
Guys, either we are too boring or you got our
No,
answers.
hi.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Manuel. Actually, I have a query related to Adani Group actually, because Adani Port I don't have, but I have a portfolio for Adani Enterprises and Adani Power, Enterprises and Adani Power. So, as you have explained that it has, um, future for 4 to 5 years that it will go up within that period. So, is there any connection if this stock will go up and the parent companies or related companies also will go rise or no?
So, ma'am, these are two different relate. They're not related together. The balance sheets are very different. The
Okay,
income
yeah.
would be very different, and
Mm-hmm.
the stock proposition would be
Mm.
very different. So though
Okay.
Adani Enterprise might have, because the promoter holding might be there, so it might have some consolidated balance sheet or some consolidated cash flows. But you cannot say that if Adani Ports will do good, then other Adani Group companies will also do good. That would be absolutely
But
baseless.
I guess promoters are same and
It doesn't matter, ma'am, because the economic conditions might not be the same for both the companies. So we will have to analyze a company in its own spirit, in its own self. So we cannot
mm-hmm,
analyze Adani Ports and project that analysis to other group companies. That's
mm-hmm.
not a healthy way of analyzing it.
Okay. But
Thank
the
you.
presentation was very good, and as I can see that the time period you are providing for the growth of this stock, that is perfectly okay. I think it can go up.
So, ma'am, that's what we learned in the class, and it's been 8 sessions. That's what we have heard and learned.
Mm-hmm.
I was not, I was a very simple commerce background person, and we learned this in the class itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
anyone has
Yeah,
anyone with any question?
yeah, Emmanuel, I have a question. My name is Anubhav Jain.
I
I
am.
want to ask,
Anubhav, you're on mute. Anubhav, I think you just muted yourself. Can you just unmute yourself? Okay, I think some trouble there. Guys, anyone else who has any question? Oh, Anubhav has unmuted himself. Anubhav, you there? Anubhav?
yeah.
Okay, please go ahead. Okay, we are facing some challenge there. Anyone else? Any questions, guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah, Anubhav, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, are there any possibilities of any disinvestment in Adani special economic zone and Adani ports? Of any they will be expanding like into reefer business or any other in coming future. So, are there any possibilities? Like, is there any chances that company will be having disinvestment or some foreign inclusions, foreign investments, anything?
Sunil, would you like to take that?
So, Anubhav, there is already foreign investments. There are already FDIs. So, foreign investors are already there. If you see the presentation,
Sir,
21
Emmanuel
point,
sir, can we go back to the shareholding pattern, please?
yeah.
So guys, what Anubhav is asking is about, if I'm not wrong, what he's asking is if there will be any further. Anubhav, you're asking about FDI or FII? Because these are two different things.
Yeah, I'm talking about FDIs and basically a major disinvestment into the company, like
So, but
this
yeah. So,
Reliance.
what do you mean by disinvestment? Like, what
Yeah, this,
exactly are you
yeah,
looking? Are you talking about promoter trying to sell their stake?
exactly.
Okay. So
So,
Sunil,
yeah. So,
yeah. So Sunil, you
Anubhav,
can take this.
thank you so much. So,
Yeah.
Anubhav, why would a promoter will sell his stake? I don't see any. If you see the numbers here, in fact, they are taking their pledge things back. If you see, in September it was 47%. In
Yeah,
December 2000 it is 45.51. In
yeah,
March it is 42.31. Now it is
yeah,
32.1. It is
yeah.
so profitable business that
Yeah.
they are taking their pledged shares also, back from the bank. So why
Okay,
they will sell it?
okay,
And
just
if you see the promoters having same shares since last,
yeah,
if you see quarter by quarter report, even before
yeah,
that, it's the same.
yeah,
So even if you see FII, FPI, that is also same. It is the same thing. So
yeah.
I don't see any conclusive idea where they want to sell it. Even they're
So,
they're paying their debts also. Their debt is also becoming less.
Yeah.
I think Atul sir wants to add something to this.
Yes. Yes.
Atul sir.
Yeah, with everybody's permission, because the data is shown here is only till June 2019. And if
Yes, sir.
we just gather the data otherwise before it gets published by the company, you will see that they had gone for the shares buyback also in September.
Yes, sir.
And that buyback was done at, I don't remember, what was the price, Emmanuel, if you would know?
375.
No, that was way beyond that actually. It was around 425 or something.
Yes, more than 400.
Yeah, so when the promoters or the company is buying back shares, that itself is a sign of a healthy future.
Sir, it was a 500 rupees buyback.
It was 500 rupees buyback. Think about it.
Pegged at 25% premium, sir.
Absolutely. So that means promoters bought it at 500 rupees from the market just 6 months back. That means their outlook, their planning, or their thinking about future is that is going to go way beyond 500. Otherwise, why would you buy something at 500 if you think it's going to go down?
Absolutely.
So that itself should give us a lot of confidence in this stock.
Exactly.
If promoters are buying it at 500, currently is it at 300, you still have almost 65% upside.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
So
I have a question.
Thank you, Atul sir. Let's just
Thank you,
before
Atul,
that,
sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
just before that question, also to answer one question, guys, because Reliance is around a lot. This investment in Reliance is happening in Jio. It is not happening in Reliance Industries, and both of these companies are two different entities. So when we are looking at promoters selling their stake in one of their entities, we should not link it to the group, or we should not link it to the parent company. Thank you. Lakshay, over to you.
Sunil, as you were mentioning that the competition for this share for this
Yes, sir.
company is very bleak. That Mundra port was already, Nhava Sheva port is already there, and this is the new port which is by Adani, the Mundra port. So, any upcoming other ports that we should look for, jo ki by a non-Adani group, probably we can look for investments in that, because they will have exponential growth opportunities. Like Adani's share was also not at 300 or 200 or 100 or 150. So probably a smaller company who will probably be the next Adani, because Adani, nobody had heard of Adani 10 years ago. Everybody was Tatas
Yes.
and Ambanis and Birlas and everyone. So now Adani is the big thing now, and thank Modi government or whatever his situation is over there. But any other alternate opportunities you explored for this?
Sir, to be honest, there is no upcoming port. There are upcoming ICDs. So I think you understand what is the difference between an ICD and a wet port. So ICD is a satellite location from where you can move the container to the wet port. So the gateway of India are the ports, and the ICDs are the connection point to the ports. So there is already two ports in Gujarat. One is Pipavav and the other one is Mundra, Adani. So there cannot be a possibility where they can, ask any other private player or any other player who can be given space for a port. There is not itna cargo ki where these two ports will do business and the third other port will also do business. The only way right now to look at the ICDs, if you see, there was only one ICD, which is Tughlakabad in Delhi, and then in 2009 there was a new ICD, RFL. There was a new ICD which is called as ICD Patli, owned by Adani, to connect North India cargo to Mundra. So there are possibilities of ICDs.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions coming up. Just to sum that up, Lakshay, there might be a new port that might come up, or there might be new possessions that might come up. But we as investors, we might not be able to take a position in them, because the only listed port is Adani. So I hope that answers your question. Also, we have Chirag, and Chirag wants to add something here. Chirag, over to you.
So regarding the 2-3 points regarding the pledge share first, the company has just 6 days ago given a news that within the next 12 to 18 months they will be taking their pledge shares to zero. So the target to do that is the end of 2021, which is a very big positive for the stock. The second is regarding the ports that they own, so they have recently in January bought the Krishnapatnam port for 5,500 crores. Got a port in Vizag,
Yes.
which Shashi Tharoor tweeted about. So if you look at the map of Indian ports, they have ports from the western to the eastern coasts all along, and they've got stake in ICD, as Sunil has said. They have stake in inland river projects that the government is doing. They've
That is
bought.
Bharatmala. That is Bharatmala where their
So
stake is.
they have bought the Snowman refrigerated logistics pretty recently. So when you look at their portfolio in terms of logistics, they've got everything in their basket, and they're so big right now. But this is a personal bias that I have, but personal feeling that I have. But they're too big to fail for the country, because something that big is critical for the nation. If the port stops, imagine the pressure it will put on the government ports and the Kandla port and the JNPTs. So the government will make sure that their business or their port keeps running even in case of a calamity, or even in case of something goes wrong financially with the particular company. So there'll be a very easy sell for the company in the future. If financially they go wrong, it will be very easy to sell a port like this, and there'll be buyers. So as an investor, we are very secure buying a stock at a value of 200, 300 rupees. If it can only go up. If it doesn't go, if it doesn't go down, if it doesn't go up, it won't go down much. You're very safe. The downside is pretty less from here.
Thank you,
Great share,
Chirag.
Chirag. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Chirag. Well, great. So I can see a question in the chat box. It's from Sparsh, and Sparsh is asking, government is trying for self-reliance. So the imports would go down, and would that hurt a port? Sparsh, to answer that, if imports would go down, probably the exports would go up, and that's what we are looking at. So our port earns on both imports and exports. So I don't think that should have a problem there. And also to add to what Chirag just mentioned, guys, out of all these speculations that we're making, that Adani ports would probably be the biggest port owner in India, which it is as of date, and we expect it to be, but that's speculative. What we're actually trying to what Sunil and Deepanshu are actually trying to convey here is that apart from all these speculative factors that we have, apart from all these commitments from the management that we have, at today's price and at today's financials and today's income statement, it is still a value buy. At today's scenario, if we compare all the quantitative and qualitative analysis, it's still a good value and growth buy. And even if our speculations are so positive, then even if that is being discounted, then we should probably go ahead and buy, even if the speculations were not this aggressive. But this is one of the factors, or this is one of such rare stocks where we are both speculatively very bullish, and we are both fundamentally very bullish. So Atul sir, I think you wanted to add something.
No, I'm fine. I think that was a fantastic discussion today.
Sure. Guys, anyone else who would like to add something, who would like to ask something? We're open. We're open. We still have, I guess, 6 minutes to the session. Anyone who would like to add or ask something, or would like to give a cheers up or feedback for Sunil and Deepanshu for the next presentation, probably.
So can I have a question regarding valuation?
Yeah, sure, Chirag.
What my feeling regarding this particular business is that when you are very big in a particular business and there is no competition, so the investor in the street does not have anything to compare you to. So if you got a Nestle, you've got a HUL, you got an ITC, so you know which is better, Marico or. But when you have a port business, which is the only listed business, as a shareholder, you are at a bit of loss, because the investor can't value you. Are you good at 300, 500, or 700? So that bias in the street to price you higher than the competition does not exist. So your stock might be a good stock at your company might be commanding a value of 600, 800, बट वो होता नहीं है क्योंकि कोई वैल्यू करने के लिए है ही नहीं. आप किससे बेटर और किससे वर्स हो आपको पता ही नहीं है. सरकारी कंपनीज लिस्टेड नहीं है और आपकी कंपनी का कोई कंपटीशन नहीं है. सो आपकी क्या वैल्यू होनी चाहिए वो स्ट्रीट पे आती नहीं है और स्टॉक में रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं करती है. आई मीन इज दैट ट्रू? Is that what happens at times?
Yeah, so Chirag, that is probably because you're not a part of our batches. I mean, the witty way of saying it. But let me just answer your question here. So to be very true, Chirag, when we value a company, we only compare two companies if it is a startup or if it is a bank, because there we don't have transparent cash flows. If it is not a bank and if it is not a startup, then we do not compare, we do not value companies based on comparative analysis. We use actual absolute valuation. So if you see the slides, you would see that we have not compared Adani ports to any company whatsoever. Though Adani, is a port and we cannot compare, but it is a infrastructure company. At the end of the day, it's an infrastructure giant. So we could have tried to compare it with other infrastructure giants like L&T, but we didn't do that. The reason we didn't, I'll have to mute. Okay. The reason we didn't compare it is because we have transparent cash flows. It is because we have quarter-on-quarter filings from the company. So yes, we do relative analysis, but we do relative analysis only in businesses that we do not have transparent cash flows for example, banks and startups, where the cash flows have not yet started because they've not hit profitability yet, or because they've just started and it's just in an idea phase or in a product phase. So there we do a relativity, or there we compare two companies and try to relate them. But when we have a company like Adani or any company that has transparent cash flows, we would do very absolute analysis. We would not compare it to anyone. And if you talk about other shareholders trying to price it in the street, the idea would still be that all the shareholders or all the people who are valuing the companies do not use relative valuation when the cash flows are very transparent. So it's not an apple to apple comparison here. Here it is simply that this particular apple that is in front of you, is it fit to eat or not?
Okay.
I hope, Chirag, that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
Yeah. So this analysis is purely absolute in its nature. Thank you. Anyone else, guys? Any appreciations, any feedbacks, any questions? We are open to it.
One more, if I can.
Yeah, Chirag, all yours.
Sorry. No, because this question is to Suneel specifically, because as a vendor and as a person who's working with the company, would know the nature of the company's working, which the shareholder would never know. So how good are their systems? Are they always on time? Are they true with their dealings? What that tells you about a company is कि वो day-to-day working में कितना अच्छा है. So if Suneel can highlight that again, that'll be really helpful. That really tells you that the company is very good in terms of the systems that it and the payment system that it applies.
Okay. May I, Emmanuel?
Yeah, Suneel, over to you.
Okay. So, Chirag, I explained before also, there was a slide where Emmanuel talked about the management thing. How's the management? So, Chirag, their management is really good. And when they came into the market, they have given a lot of credit to the freight forwarders, not to the customers, because customers comes through the freight forwarders. Okay. They don't cater customers directly. But when you talk about bigger customers, when you talk about Ro-Ro vessels, then they cater customers directly, like Marutis and all. So their management is very good. They're very smart people. And just to add some things right now, once the cargo is started coming to their ICDs and Mundra, they have slowly started, taking the credit off. Because अब उन्होंने मोट लगा दिया, customer को आदत लगा दी है मुंद्रा की. तो customer अब, we actually, what happens is in our industry is we have to give credit to our customers. Right. और customer हमसे credit मांगता है, right? तो हमको भी credit कहीं ना कहीं चाहिए होता है. तो उन्होंने पहले आदत लगाया मुंद्रा का, मोट create करा, उसके बाद now they have shifted to the other model. They are not giving credit right now. So imagine पूरी इंडस्ट्री में उन्होंने अदानी पोर्ट्स ने इस वक्त बड़े बड़े कस्टमर से क्रेडिट खींच लिया है. That means they are worried about their debts and their money. अब वो कहते हैं कि पहले आप पैसे दो तब कंटेनर रेल आउट करेंगे हम लोग. And I'm in big shock कि उनके जो 3-3 महीने के उधार होंगे या 2-2 महीने के, 1.5 महीने के, वो सारा पैसा इस वक्त उनके पास बैंक में होगा. और same happens with the shipping lines also. जब शिपिंग लाइन बर्थ करती है किसी भी पोर्ट पर, तो उसको 15-20 दिन का उधार देना होता है. जो वेसल बर्थिंग होती है उसका खर्चा होता है 8 hours का, जैसे $10,000, $20,000, $40,000 फॉर द पोर्ट ऑपरेशंस. तो उन्होंने वहां पर भी कस दिया, शिपिंग लाइन से भी पैसा मांगना शुरू कर दिया उन्होंने पहले. सो दे आर वेरी स्मार्ट पीपल.
Yeah, Sunil, sorry to interrupt. I think what
Yeah,
Chirag is actually asking is, because you deal with Adani Ports directly, how do
yeah.
you feel about the company? Do you feel
So
positive,
yeah, I
or
feel positive. So I am talking इन्वेस्टर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी, कि मैं जब वहां पैसा लगाऊंगा, जब मैं क्रेडिट की बात कर रहा हूँ और पैसे कमाने की बात कर रहा हूँ, तो मैं डेट भी देख रहा हूँ. तो जब मैं पैसा लगाऊंगा तो मेरा पैसा सेफ है कि नहीं है. तो आई एम टॉकिंग इन दैट वे ऑल्सो कि द मैनेजमेंट इज रियली गुड. सो इफ दे आर गिविंग क्रेडिट, एट व्हाट टर्म्स दे आर गिविंग क्रेडिट, इफ दे आर नॉट गिविंग क्रेडिट राइट नाउ, so they are very smart players, so their management is really good and they know how to cater the business. They are able to shift at least matlab major chunk of Nhava Sheva to Mundra, especially to European African markets. That's what.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil. So guys, thank you, Chirag, for lovely questions. So guys, I hope it was really productive, and I hope we keep bringing such productive insights for you. Thank you, Deepanshu, and thank you, Sunil, for really working and putting your man hours in this and giving it a direction. Great appreciation for you guys. Atul sir, over to you.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you. The first presentation, and I think very, very good discussion. And it must have given some good idea about whether we should invest in Adani at this point of time or not to all of us. So thank you very much, guys. Sunil, Deepanshu, fantastic discussion here.
So thanks for the opportunity. And can we invest now, sir?
You tell us, should we invest?
So you should, sir. I'm asking. Nobody said, sir. Nobody asked anything. कि खरीद ले कि नहीं खरीदे, sir.
Okay.
को ऊपर जाएगा. 18th May it will touch, because I and
Sir,
Deepanshu are analyzing it today, and I risk this putting whatever I have learned, that you will see on 18th it will reach around 314 or more. That is what I and Deepanshu.
Okay. Sir, कोई resistance नहीं आया कि खरीदना क्यों नहीं है, sir?
So the only resistance when we talk about shares, so if you remember yesterday when everybody was talking about government's economic package announcement, and I had written that price, discount everything, and market consume news in a single day.
Yes, sir.
Right? And that's what it meant. कि वो जो कल की news थी वो कल की news थी. But actually
Right,
the
sir.
major trend right now is downtrend. So
Right,
market is again going down. So आपकी कंपनी कितनी भी healthy हो, एक मेजर डाउन ट्रेंड के अगेंस्ट नहीं जा सकती.
Yes, sir.
बहुत ही मुश्किल है. The best they can do is stick to that point. That itself is achievement. Like Adani today, they have not lost today.
Yes, sir.
It is not in minus. It has
Yes,
not
sir.
moved much. That itself is an achievement. That shows the strength of the stock. When all the big time stocks are 4 or 5% down today, Adani stayed at the same level.
Right,
It
sir.
may not be able to stay at the same level if market goes down again tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
It may go down. So yes, Adani, we have all agreed that fantastic company, no competition, entry barrier is so high, you can't just start a port whenever you want. That means you don't have much option also. So they can play whichever way they want to increase the revenue. But is this the right time? Should I buy today or should I buy tomorrow? Or should I buy day after tomorrow? That's what you guys have to decide.
Sir, in last class, what you told us that if मतलब अगर risk लेना है तो कितना percentage का risk होता है? 8-7-8% का, right? पर profitability उसकी कितनी percentage ज़्यादा हो सकती है?
Yes,
तो
absolutely.
if I look at the Adani port, तो अगर इसका नया support और resistance देखेंगे, अगर ये नीचे भी गिरता है, अगर मैं खरीदता हूँ आज, तो नीचे गिरेगा भी तो 200. दीपांशु, इसका जो नया resistance था वो इसका जो पुराना सपोर्ट था, it was around 260 or 250.
I think then, or the you can say that the risk is very it should be economical around some percentage.
I agree. So इसका जो support है इस वक्त 263 पे है. That means the downside is just almost around 10%, but the upside is almost 30%.
Exactly, sir.
Yes, so
yes.
Absolutely, and that's what I wanted to hear, honestly. So yes, अगर हम risk reward ratio भी लेके चलें, I think we are on the reward side if we buy it. Technically also.
And sir, if I am a long term investor, मैं इसको लेके रख भी सकता हूँ और सोचूं ना कि मेरे को अभी 2 महीने क्या रिवॉर्ड आया, 4 महीने क्या रिवॉर्ड है, क्योंकि ये डे ट्रेडिंग वाला स्टॉक तो मैं उसको
Absolutely.
ऐसे नहीं देख रहा सर।
ये वैसे है भी नहीं। आई
जी सर।
ओनली लुक एट वन थिंग कि मार्केट कंडीशंस कैसी भी हैं। जैसे ही मार्केट थोड़ा और ओपन होगी, पोर्ट का काम बढ़ना ही है, ये कम नहीं हो सकता।
यस सर।
The simple thing I will simply assume that if the promoters bought it at 500 6 months ago, that is the mark I'm going to achieve, because promoters का break even ही 500 पे है।
Oh yes sir।
राइट, सो अगर वो प्रोमोटर्स
हाँ।
पैसे कमाए या ना कमाए, वो 500 तक भी ले आए किसी तरह से इसको, आई एम डन। 300 पे खरीद के 500 पे बेचेंगे, 60% से ज्यादा रिटर्न है हमारा।
और सर लूज करने के लिए सिर्फ 8-10% है, वो भी अगर मैं बेचूं तो, जो आप सर 3% का फॉर्मूला बताया था आपने,
हाँ जी,
लाइक योर फॉर्मूला इज ऑफ 3%,
बट दैट इज फॉर ट्रेडिंग, सो वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट ट्रेडिंग।
हाँ
So
ट्रेडिंग, यस,
investing
दैट
के
फॉर लॉन्ग
हिसाब
टर्म
से,
इन्वेस्टमेंट।
yeah, when we are talking about investing, and if we are worried, like I said, that market can go down further next few days, and it can go down further, then don't invest all the money in one go. Maybe divide it into 3 parts. Only invest 1/3 tomorrow, and then wait for the market to go down. Then buy next 1/3 after that. So buy in slabs, in tranches.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sunil, you have 3 supports already on
Yes.
Adani on weekly chart. So you
One
can
is
divide.
yeah.
Yeah. So you can divide 100 rupees that you want to invest into 3 packets, and you can deploy each packet at every support.
थैंक यू सर। तो दीपांशु आज खरीद लेते हैं भाई, ये कुछ पैसा बना लेते हैं।
Okay, guys. So yeah. So guys, I think we're done for today. Atul sir, should we
Yes.
close the session?
Yes. Thank you very much, everyone.
Guys, any questions, you can get back to us directly. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Deepanshu.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful show.